Do you like running down the street naked? I don't. It takes a lot of courage. Courage you will find if you wear one of these Polizei 144 shirts. And if you wear one, you might even start talking like this. Like the time Clint Eastwood said to me, "That's a pretty fancy jacket." That's the same thing he would say to you if you were wearing one of these shirts, available at polizei144.com. Or you could click the link in the description to find the link you need. Because I don't drive junk. Is that how it's supposed to go? Are you sure that works with that voice? Ah, fuck it. I've been getting so much action driving my Morgan three-wheeler that I forgot what it was like to be a virgin. So I decided to go straight to the source himself, Barker Nierenstein of Vehicle Virgins, and drive the very car he bought when he was 22. Lamborghini Huracan. The Huracan costs about $200,000, which is a little bit more than 2 sessions with Stormy Daniels, or 3 text messages to your dad saying, "I got an A this semester." Lamborghini is responsible for some of the most beautiful cars in history. The Miura, the Countach, and also the Miura. Specifications and performance. This vehicle is amazing. We'll do 0 to 60 in 2 bad Snapchats or 1 shitty Instagram live stream you've already seen. Therefore, this is junk and the Morgan wins. As we know, the Morgan has these beautiful 18-inch wire spoke wheels, whereas the Lamborghini has, it's hard to say, no one cares. This vehicle costs $50,000. This vehicle costs approximately, today, $200,000. In theory, these wheels should be at least 4 times larger than the Morgan's, or 72 inches, but instead they are only 20. Therefore, this is a terrible value. This is junk and the Morgan wins. As we know, the Morgan has these beautiful headlights with tape on them, whereas the Lamborghini headlights have this configuration which is kind of like a Y, which makes sense because whenever you turn them on, you can ask yourself, why am I not having intercourse tonight? Imagine you're having intercourse and you look down and you see a color resembling this on your body. And then you look inside and you don't like what you see. So you think maybe you should call a doctor. If you take a close-up picture of the body panel and do a Google image search, the results are crepitating bowel erosion, which you do not want. Speaking of color, you'll notice that the official name of the color is Verde Mantis, as in praying mantis, which makes perfect sense because the praying mantis makes a motion like this. I can't. Much like what the driver will be doing the first time he brings a woman home. The interior of the Huracan is a disaster. Let us begin with all the terrible parts. For example, the touch points are cheap plastic and derived from an Audi A3. You have here this green finish, which after 50,000 miles is worn down. I've owned old Porsche 911s, even after 100,000 miles, looked better. It is absolutely inexcusable. The switchgear, plastic. The window controls are inverted. This looks dated right out of the gate. I mean, give me a bunch of blow and I'll break that thing right off the first time I want to go in reverse. If you want to change lanes, the left and right signals are here, which sucks if you like to put your hand here. But if you want to use the high beams, they're located right where you want them to be, which is a wonderful feature. Which leaves driving impressions. It's fine. It's like an Audi R8 for someone who's a little more nervous. Well, right off the bat, I can say I like one thing about it. The steering is incredibly quick. I mean, incredibly quick. Quicker than the 458 we drove recently. That's a good thing, because assuming you have any driving skill, well, I guess you can't assume that about the kind of person who would buy this car. I suppose for someone who's got something to prove and 20 years to earn the skills to deserve such a car, it's perfect. But for anyone who actually cares about driving, it's the wrong car. You should never buy a car better than your skills. And that's really what the Huracan's all about. Well, did I mention that there are more editions of this car than there are people who can actually pay cash for it? Because these cars don't last. And I don't mean mechanically. I'm sure the drivetrain will. It's German. They don't last in terms of what they're meant to be. Because as soon as you've got one, a year later, the next kid, a year younger than you, has got his dad to buy the Performante, rendering the prior one, for coolness purposes, worthless. Which is why it's the car driven by Barker Nierenstein, a man for whom nothing matters because everything is disposable. I hope that wasn't too personal, Barker. But if you ever want to come drive a car that will last forever, in the memories and minds of those who love driving, there's a Morgan dealership in upstate New York. Meet me there, and you can see something that isn't junk.